Hey friends, it's Lisa. I'm just here to do a quick month book reading wrap up from the month of March. Similar to February, I didn't finish a whole lot of books. The spring has sprung and I am busy. So yes, and reading far too much because that's what I do. But I'm going to go ahead and do a real quick little wrap-up of the books that I read for the month of March. One I've already talked about on here. A couple Fridays ago, I was reading it and found it funny, so I made a video about it. But this one is The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood by Howard Pyle. Older book. Very fun. Just as it is described, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood, covering from how he became an outlaw through his demise, quite frankly, and a little bit beyond that, too. Just a really fun, just laughing, high-spirited book about, his adventures as an outlaw and him and his merry men and them doing the thing. It was really fun. Read this for a book club that I'm in, which is Robin Hood themed because it's based off of a Robin Hood podcast that I found a couple years ago called Into the Greenwood. If you are into podcasts and you're into Robin Hood, I highly recommend it. The host, Thaddeus Papke, I think that's his last name. Forgive me, Thad. It's late, and I'm tired, is wonderful. He's very well researched. He gets authors, and they talk about the movies and the television shows and the media of Robin Hood, but also, the lore and the legend, and, he's had, trick shot archers on the show, and he's had, the, curator of the, Sherwood Forest, National Trust or whatever. I mean, there's so many episodes that are really good. So if you're into Robin Hood and into podcast, Into the Greenwood is a great one. So highly recommend that. But that was, I'm going to keep this one because it's Robin Hood themed and I love Robin Hood. So it's staying. I love it. The other book I read was, I've been working through the Poldark series, which is a series. It's been made into actually two different television series. One in the early 2000s, which is really good, and one in the 70s, I want to say, which is also really good but shorter. I think the one from the early 2000s went for 5 or 6 seasons. It was really good. I recommend the show. But I've been reading the book series that the show is based off of. And so I read The Miller's Dance. I think I have 3 books left in the series. I've been kind of chugging through this one. Covers, just this family saga of Ross Poldark and his wife and their kids. And these books, the last 2 I've read into the next couple are more centered around his kids. So he has, spoiler alert, I guess, he has 4 children. He has a son, 2 daughters, and then the last book, once again, spoiler alert, but these books were written in the 70s, so I'm not really spoiling much. Just had a baby. I guess late stage life baby, but covering their kids and their adventures, and so yeah, this one's pretty good. This one's not mine. This is the library, so I'm gonna take this back to the library probably next week. But yeah, that's that one. And then the last book I read in the month of March. What month is it, guys? It's wild. I'm sorry. And it's late. And I probably should have done this in the morning, but I wanted to get it done. Was this one. It's called King John's Right-Hand Lady, the story of Nicola de la Haye. So I discovered this book, again, through a podcast. I think it was Gone Medieval? Yes, that sounds right. I listen to a bunch of podcasts. I'm a podcast listener, and a history-based ones for sure. But she was the first sheriff of Lincoln, and she kind of became sheriff during King John the First. I guess he's the only King John, but King John reigned. So if you're once again, if you're going Robin Hood, this is in most of the things you're thinking when you think of Robin Hood, you think Richard the Lionheart, and then Prince John. That's him. He becomes king in later after Richard meets an untimely demise. But he becomes king, and he's like the only King John because he was Magna Carta. I'm not going into the history of the Plantagenets, although that's fun. I'm not doing that right now. But this is about was about this woman who, and again, there's the book for you. She was the first sheriff, female sheriff of Lincoln during his reign. She kind of came to power kind of during his dad's reign, so Henry II, and then kind of like just held on to it, and then infamously and famously during King John's reign, I guess I kind of have to go into history a little bit. Oh no. So Magna Carta happens. I'll brief it. Magna Carta happens. John doesn't honor Magna Carta because he's an English king. And the barons that he signed this agreement with get mad, and they sell the crown to the French. And so the French are like invading England to take the throne. And she, along with others, but she kind of like, they attack Lincoln. The French and the barons that are siding with the French attack Lincoln, and she kind of like holds the fort down. She like mans the siege. It was like a 2.5 year siege or something like that. And then in rides our famous, the greatest knight, the longest serving knight in English history, William Marshall, comes riding in to help, and they dispatch the French, and they kick him out, and they save the realm from the French, which is funny. So yeah, so that's kind of, but Nicola de la Haye is the girl that she's girl bossing it the whole way. She's interesting. This book was hard to get into, because it seems like it's, like she does, the author is, Sharon Bennett Connolly. It's very well researched, but there's, as is the case with many medieval women, she's not very, she kind of like, oh, I spot her in records, and they're all like charters and like really boring documents. She kind of pops up, and then we kind of know her story through really boring detail. But the book was, once it got into the story, it was really interesting how she just like girl bossed this whole thing. But that was fun. But yeah, those were the 3 books I read. I'm keeping the Robin Hood and the King John, the Nicola de la Haye book, because they're interesting, and I bought them and they're mine. And then the Miller's Dance is going back to the library, probably soon. So, but yeah, that's it. I'm running out of time here. But those are the books I read for March. And we're gonna keep on at it, and I hope you guys have a good evening, and I'll catch you next month. Toodaloo, happy reading. Bye.